Hello everybody, my name is Mr. Fussell, this is Business 101. Today we're going to be going through business and globalization. Business and globalization. So in business, globalization means operating on an international scale to provide or produce goods and services. Almost all of the goods we use are made of parts sourced from around the world. In business, globalization refers to companies operating internationally or on a global scale. This involves most of the world's economies working together to provide and produce goods and services. The three main elements of globalization are imports, exports, and business location. Globalization involves businesses buying and selling around the world, often due to the cost or availability of products or cheap labor. Additionally, some products have a reputation for being from a certain part of the world, so versions of the product from that location may be highly desired. For example, pizza and pasta originally came from Italy, so people in other countries may be willing to pay more for Italian brands of these products. The process of buying from and selling to overseas countries is also known as international trade. Imports, competition from overseas and buying from overseas. Importing refers to the process of purchasing goods or services from overseas and bringing them into another country. For example, goods are brought into the UK in exchange for money leaving the UK economy. In the UK, most companies import products and services. Sometimes products are imported because they cannot easily be manufactured in the importing country due to the climate, the capacity of businesses, or the availability of raw materials, e.g. fruit and vegetables. For example, coffee beans are produced in countries such as Colombia and need to be imported into the UK. For other items, it is cheaper to purchase products from other countries than to make them in the importing country. For example, the UK commonly imports electrical products from China and India. A similar principle applies to the service industries. So, for example, the call centres of many UK companies are located in India due to the cheaper labour costs in that country. So now let's talk about export, so selling to overseas markets. Exporting refers to a country selling products and services to other countries around the world. When the UK sells products and services to foreign countries, money comes back into the UK economy. One of the UK's biggest exports is vehicles. Vehicles made by some of the biggest car brands are produced in the UK and then shipped abroad in return for money. Some products such as Heinz baked beans and Harris tweed are famous for being produced in the UK and Ireland. These items are sold around the world. So now let's talk about SPIECED and Wipidic. We've mentioned these in previous lessons. So, two important acronyms to remember about exports are SPIECED and Wipidic. These describe two different potential states of the economy. They stand for strong pound makes imports cheaper but exports dearer, and weak pound makes imports dearer but exports cheaper. SPIECED is good for businesses that import goods and services from overseas, as it means products are cheaper because of the exchange rate. However, under SPIECED, businesses that export goods and services may either sell less or have lower profit margins. This is because overseas buyers have to pay more due to the exchange rate, or the importing business will keep the same price with a lower profit margin. Wipidic is the exact opposite. Importing goods and services becomes more expensive due to the exchange rate, and this extra expense is often passed on to customers. Businesses that export goods and services may see an increase in their sales. This is because the exchange rate either makes the goods and services cheaper for foreign buyers or provides exporters with more profit. Changing business locations. So, as businesses grow and increase the scale of their operations, operating overseas in several countries becomes a real possibility for them. For example, for a food takeaway business, this could mean opening outlets in other countries in order to access new markets of customers. Alternatively, for an online business, this could mean developing a website in a foreign language and opening distribution centers in a foreign country. So there are several advantages and disadvantages to a business increasing the scale of its operations. So let's go through those now. Advantages: access to more customers, potential for more sales and profit, potential to grow product range, and increase brand awareness. But then it also has downsides. So the downsides are increased responsibility, more risk, more potential for failure, and harder to maintain standards. Now let's move on to multinational companies, otherwise known as MNCs. So the ultimate goal for a growing business is that it wants to increase the scale of its operations to compete abroad. Multinational companies, or MNCs, also known as transnational corporations or TNCs, are companies that operate in a number of countries around the world. Some of the biggest retail, technology, food, coffee, and soft drink brands operate in many different countries. These companies often adapt their products to suit consumers in the different countries while keeping their brand image recognizable around the world. For example, a fast food chain might sell beef burgers in the UK or the USA, but develop a spicy fajita wrap to sell in Mexico. This is often also known as globalization. So globalization is where you expand to multiple countries, but you localize your product range for that specific place that you've expanded into. Barriers to international trade, tariffs and trading blocs. So international trading has some potential barriers that can make it difficult for businesses to trade with some countries. The main two trading barriers are tariffs and trading blocs. So let's talk about tariffs first. So a tariff is a tax on imported goods and services. Many countries place tariffs on imported goods and services to make them more expensive for businesses and consumers to buy. They do this to restrict demand. By doing this, they aim to promote and protect businesses in the home country. This is known as a protectionist measure, okay? And these are a couple advantages and disadvantages of tariffs, okay? So advantages: more money for the government, and businesses in the home country have a better chance of competing. However, the disadvantages are imported goods and services become more expensive, and it may cause other countries to impose tariffs in response, affecting exporters. Now let's move on to trading blocs. So a trading bloc is another potential barrier to international trade. A trading bloc is a group of countries that work together to provide special deals for trading. This promotes trade between specific countries within that bloc. The European Union, otherwise known as the EU, is an example of a trading bloc. All of the countries within the EU can trade freely with each other, which means that no tariffs are put in place. This makes goods and services cheaper, which is good for both businesses that export and businesses that import within the EU. However, the EU also charges tariffs on many goods and services imported from outside the EU, which makes them more expensive. So now let's talk about some advantages and disadvantages to trading blocs. So promotes free trade, which means trading without tariffs. There is often free movement of labor, so people moving across trading blocs. And it creates good trading relationships with other countries in that trading bloc. Okay, so it promotes, peaceful trading and communication between countries, which is a good thing, right? And then for disadvantages, we have importing and exporting to countries outside of the trading bloc, which can be expensive. And countries can often only be part of one trading bloc, which means they cannot enter others, meaning there will be certain goods and services from countries outside of their trading bloc that will permanently be more expensive to those people because they are not in their trading bloc, and they won't be simultaneously. So, competing internationally, the internet and e-commerce. E-commerce is any business transaction that takes place using the internet. Using the internet and e-commerce is becoming essential for businesses that want to expand, such as small businesses. This is because the internet and e-commerce provide easy ways for businesses to gain access to a much wider range of potential customers. For example, a small clothes shop in Manchester could decide to set up a website and start selling clothes through e-commerce. The owner might then also decide to create websites in different languages to allow overseas customers to understand the information and purchase the shop's clothes. Let's talk advantages of e-commerce. Okay, so they're open 24/7, they're cheap to operate compared to physical stores, it gives them access to a huge range of potential customers, it's easy to sell to overseas customers, and it provides access to cost-effective promotional methods such as social media and email advertising. So e-commerce, really, really important for businesses. Competing internationally, changing the marketing mix. So the marketing mix refers to product, price, place, and promotion. When they are trying to compete on an international scale, businesses must adapt their marketing mix. This is because different countries have different beliefs, income levels, and levels of demand for each type of product. These differences affect each element of the marketing mix. Changes that a business might need to consider include product, styles, fashion trends, sizing, cultural beliefs, so colors that are considered lucky in one country may be associated with danger in another country. Dietary requirements, so some places may require a halal or kosher food, and then we also have infrastructure, so right and left-hand drive cars and different types of electrical plug sockets and multiple pin plugs. Okay, so these are changes that are just ingrained in different societies that a business will need to take into account when expanding into those foreign markets, okay? And this continues in the other categories of the marketing mix. So if we move on to price, this may be affected by tariffs and trading blocks, income levels, disposable income, tax, exchange rates, and the level of demand, which could be very, very different. Place. So access to the internet in certain countries can be difficult. Purchasing preferences in some countries may be different. So in some countries, buying from the internet or buying from a physical store may be more or less actively used than the other, depending on the country. And there's also differences in terms of accessibility for distribution links, depending on the country as well. And then finally, we have promotion. So cultural and social differences, language and translations. These are all things that need to be taken into account when expanding into these sort of foreign markets. And that is today's lesson over and done with, guys. I hope you really enjoyed today's lesson. I hope you learned all about business and globalization. It's quite a big topic. It has a wide encumbrance of material that you need to learn. But once you learn it, it stays in your head forever, and it is one of those things that clicks into virtually everything else in the business subjects. So definitely make sure you, memorize this lesson and all of its teachings, okay? So thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Please leave a comment in the comment section if you have not had one of your questions answered in this lesson. Leave a like on the video because it helps me out a lot. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe for more business lessons in the future. We're doing GCSE at the minute. We're doing AQA. We will be moving on to Edexcel soon. After we complete AQA, and then we will be moving on to A level. Okay, so hopefully people stick around for that. Okay, thank you very much. Goodbye.